Hey there! Today we'll have a look at a pen that I absolutely adore. And this is what happened. I went to Akkerman in The Hague. And that's extremely dangerous. Because when you're a pen lover and you go there, it is incredible the amount of pens they have there. It's not that it's such a huge store, but there's an insane amount of pens. There's pens everywhere. Behind the counter, they're just lined up in rows and layers. It angers me because every time I go there I leave with an expensive pen. Anyway, it's a wonderful shop and I was helped by Paul. I'm going to say Paul. The Dutch pronunciation would be Paul, but because I'm speaking English here I'm just going to say Paul. And Paul is a fantastic fellow. I absolutely adore the man because he is a true fountain pen lover. He's not just a salesman, he loves pens. It's apparent from everything he says. You can point at anything and say, oh, I'm sorry, what is that? And he says, oh, I'll give it to you. And you can try it out, you can dip it, you can do anything with it you like except run out of the store with it. But he knows his pens, he knows his stuff. He can tell you about it, he can tell you when it was launched, he can tell you what makes it different from previous models of that pen, etc. Really highly recommended. Very, very cool. And Paul sold me on a pen. Thank you, Paul, for making me spend money. Anyway, it's an OMAS, and if it comes in a box like this, which pretty much looks like a shoe box in size, you can picture that this is an expensive pen. Anyway, once in a while you have to indulge yourself, guys. It's December 2014. It's the end of the year, Christmas and all that. Treat yourself once in a while. Okay, you get this nice, I don't know, I thought it was a little Art Deco looking decoration on the box, and in the box is a couple of things, and they're actually held in place rather securely, and of course when I say that the little cloth falls out, but we have a little polishing cloth. Very nice. All pens should come with that. I can't put it back in and put it in later. It comes with a bottle of ink, and I love the design of OMAS ink bottles. I love that faceted design. It's really cool. It's 62 centiliters, 2.2 ounces. It's blue. Is this an exciting ink? Not really. It's a blue. It does what it's supposed to do, but it's cool that you get a bottle of ink with your pen, which also suggests it's a piston filler. You get the OMAS little book with the booklet with the guarantee, international warranty, and also filling instructions and all that. So there you have that, and then of course you have the pen, and the pen comes in the cute little pen sleeve that OMAS pens tend to come in, that I like a lot. And then out comes the actual pen, and what we have here is, I think you can call it, or maybe it is the flagship of the OMAS brand, the Paragon. And they come in a bunch of finishes. I'm pretty sure there's also an Arco Paragon like this My Lord, but this is just a black Paragon. And I just want to show you this. So here you have the My Lord, and this is the Paragon, and as you can see, I hope, the Paragon is just a little bit longer, but it's also a bit thicker. It's always a little hard to show you this without getting my fingers in the way, but you can see it has just a little bit more girth. Okay, I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Okay, the top of the pen, the finial right there, you get this evil eye that looks at you. It's a bit like the Eye of Sauron. And then you get this beautiful clip. It's the same clip that you find on the My Lord, except it's all a bit smaller on the My Lord. Very stiff clip, although I like this one more than on my My Lord because that's very stiff. This at least has some movement in it. And of course you have the little wheel, which makes it very easy to put the pen in a breast pocket, for example, or a pen pouch. Okay, you have the 12 facets. It's not the 12 days of Christmas, 12 facets on this pen. I very much enjoy that. And then you have the center band, the Greek key, aka the meander shape. It says the Paragon, Italy, and OMAS. Then you have the barrel, also 12-sided, and then you get the little piston turning knob with a gold ring. The cap unscrews, and then you have this gold section. I probably would have enjoyed it if it would be the same material as the barrel, but I do find this a very comfortable section. I'll come back to that in a second. And here you have the nib. Now, believe it or not, my regular viewers, this is a fine nib, and I know that I love broads and double broads and triple broads and quadruple broads and insanely broads, but this is a fine nib. 18 karat solid gold. It has OMAS on there. I think it's a pretty neat design, and I fell in love with it. I tried it. It was dipped for me in the store. I put it on the paper, and I was very impressed. This is probably the greatest fine nib I have ever used. Is it fine? Absolutely. Definitely a fine line. Not a skinny medium. This is a fine line, but it's so smooth. There is no feedback whatsoever. I would say it's very smooth, very pleasant, and if you bear in mind that it is fine, no feedback. Really nice, no scratchiness whatsoever. Very, very impressed. Okay, then you get the feed. I'm pretty sure that's ebonite. At least it is on the Mylord, and I think this is ebonite too, but I haven't tried to heat set or anything. No, none of that was necessary. And here you have the section again, and what I really want to point out is that 12-sided ring at the end of the section, fitting in very well with the barrel and the cap design. This section is metal, and as you know, metal can become a little slippery if you have sweaty hands, but in all honesty, I haven't had any issues with it. Very pleasant. The pen is very light, this being celluloid, and it is actually beautifully balanced, as you can see right there. Metal section, plastic, oh, sorry, not plastic, celluloid barrel, making this nice weight there where you want it when you write. It's not top heavy. It's very pleasant, very well balanced. You can post this pen if you like, but it doesn't post very deeply, so then you really get a big one in your hands, because that's just the way it is. This is a piston filled pen, so it holds quite a lot of ink. That's pretty much all there's to it. I love it, and I am fully aware of the fact that I never ever thought I would buy a fine nib, but what a joy to write with. Okay, what do I like about it? What do I not like about it? This rather mirrors what I said about the Mylord. I like the looks. 12 facets, looks very cool. Yes, this is just black and gold. We've seen that before. 149 by Montblanc, Sailor 1911. We've seen it on some platinum pens. It's a very classy thing, right? It's something that's done a lot. Black pen, gold highlights, but it looks good. This is not a small pen. I like that. If you have larger hands like me, wonderful section, nice and thick, good girth, very comfortable to hold for those with larger hands who like a bigger pen. Nice oversize. I like that. I like the piston filler, decent amount of ink, and I love the nib. And again, I know it's not the spectacular Arco celluloid, it's just black, but I love it. Alright, things I don't like about it. Not so much. I would have enjoyed it if the section would have been the same material as the barrel, but again, the metal makes it nice and nicely balanced, a nice counterpoint to the whole barrel, which gives a very decent balance when you write with it, so I don't mind that so much. Threads, beautiful. Not sharp at all, very pleasant to hold, no problems when you write, doesn't cut into your skin. Very cool. Now, the one thing I will comment on that I would really like to see is an ink window, because it being a piston filler, you have no idea how much ink you have left when you write, and that can be a problem if you have to go somewhere you don't know. Of course, you can always refill it, but if you're in the office or something like that, it may be difficult to have bottles of ink at hand, etc. Having said that, I absolutely love it, and I think it's a gorgeous design. So, let's take a couple of measurements, switching on the scale there, and then I'll do a writing sample. It's definitely a bigger pen. It comes in at 148.99 millimeters. That's 5.87 inches. Capped, uncapped, still not exactly small. 5.3 inches, 134.9 millimeters. Section diameter at the narrowest point just below that 12-sided ring, 11 millimeters or 0.44 of an inch, and all the way at the end, that is right where it meets the barrel, not just above the threads. 0.56 of an inch or 14.3 millimeters. The weight, I think I pretty much just inked it up, so it's full of ink. 44 grams. So it's not super light, but again, it being so beautifully balanced, I don't think it's a problem that it weighs this much. Okay, enough talk. You want to see the pen in action. So do I, because it's a joy to use. Paul, thanks a lot for selling me yet another expensive pen. I much appreciate it. I'm just kidding. It's always very pleasant to interact with you. Guys, I hope this review was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye. Alright, so here we go, writing with the OMAS Paragon. And I thought the day would never come, but it is a fine nib, and the ink is OMAS Blue, came with the pen. Alright, well, let's see what it does. Wonderful nib. Very, very pleasant, very smooth. Always bear in mind that on a camera like this, it may pick up the feedback of the nib on the paper, but I promise you, this is not scratchy at all. It's not feedbacky. It's a beautiful, wonderful, smooth nib. Probably the nicest smooth nib, the nicest fine I've ever used. I'll do some fast writing. The Paragon, beautiful. Writes quickly, writes well, no skipping, fantastic. Okay, as to wetness, it is actually decently wet, especially for a fine. I think it's pretty wet. Line variation, it is an 18K nib. I'm always a little careful with OMAS nibs. In my experience, they spring relatively easily, but as you can see, very nice amount of line variation. Now, something some people do is use the nib reverse to get a finer line. Of course, this already is a fine, so I don't really see the point. But if you really have to, this is what reverse writing looks like. As you can see, very dry, quite scratchy. But as I said, it's already a fine, so I don't see why I would want to reverse this. Okay, a very beautiful pen. I really love this one. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye bye.